Hey everyone, this week I was asked, is it better when you hear a cracking noise? So if you're being adjusted and you hear a cracking noise, is that better than hearing no cracking noise? Well, the first thing I want to do is to separate 2 points. The first is when you crack your own neck, it's probably not good. Um, it's a lot different if you just go around trying to crack your own joints compared to if somebody who understands the nuances in the anatomy is performing an adjustment and happens to hear a cracking noise. That's a lot different. The next thing I want to make sure that we know is that not all adjustments actually make cracking noises. So for example, in all kids under 10 years old, I'm not going to use any treatments that have any cracking noises at all. But probably in adult, their joints are developed enough where it's probably going to be more beneficial for them. I am answering the question today, if I go to adjust an adult and move their joint, is it better to have a cracking noise? And the truth is, it depends. So I'm just going to tell you 3 different scenarios. And ultimately, the end, if you just want to know the answer right now, is it doesn't really matter. The cracking noise itself doesn't really matter. But the first scenario is that you're going to come into the office, lie down here and have your spine checked, and everything's going to be perfect, in which case I'm not going to adjust anything at all. In fact, I'll probably move the joints through their range of motion, and they won't make any noise. They will move perfectly, and that actually is the best case scenario. And to many people, they may feel like, oh, isn't that a waste? It's absolutely not a waste, because when you have your spine checked, and everything's perfect, this is when your nervous system and your body are functioning at their best. This is when everything is performing at its best. This is what you're trying to get. And I've seen, especially new chiropractors who aren't quite confident yet, I've seen them check people and feel like they haven't done anything unless they found something, unless they make a cracking noise, and they haven't gone through the trouble of actually educating people yet, and they feel just a little bit uncomfortable. They feel like they haven't done anything and they're not delivering enough value to the patient unless they make cracking noises, which when you say it like this, it kind of sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But ultimately what we want is at some point when you're coming in periodically, we want it to be that after every few visits, for example, you may have it where you were coming in twice a week with a problem. It may so happen that after a few weeks, we're only adjusting you once a week, but we're checking your spine twice a week. And oftentimes it'll be where the neck needs to be adjusted, but not the lower back. So typically what will happen is all those subluxations will start to disappear and we're adjusting fewer and fewer things. But this is actually the best for you because your body is just going to have more flow and more healing. And we may not adjust it at all. I have one patient who is visiting 3 times a week for his ankle. So I'm doing laser therapy on his ankle and I'm checking his spine. And I'm only adjusting his spine every 2 weeks or so because he's probably got the best spine that I've seen in a long time, but I'm seeing him 3 times a week. So I can monitor his spine, but I'm not adjusting it every single time. That would be ridiculous. I'm only going to adjust it when it's best for him and as it's needed. So that's the best case scenario. The second scenario is when I check you, you need to be adjusted, and I adjust you and there's movement. And when there's movement in a joint, if a joint's stuck and then we isolate it and adjust it and it moves, it may make a cracking noise, it may not, but the important thing is that it moves again and we train your body to move this segment again. And when it makes a cracking noise, it's often a very relieving thing. It's a very almost cathartic. It's a release to a patient. They love that. But oftentimes there's a very significant release and it doesn't make any sound at all. Sometimes I won't release things with an adjustment. I'll do it very slowly. Some people don't want to have a cracking noise. So I'll use a different technique to actually release the joint more slowly and address it that way. But the adjustment is ultimately the fastest, the easiest, the most effective way to do it if it's within the comfort zone of the patient. So the second best scenario is that you have a subluxation something that needs to be adjusted, and we adjust it, and it makes a noise, or it moves. Maybe it makes a noise, maybe it doesn't. The noise is really just a byproduct. It happens to be there. The third scenario is that you need to be adjusted, but it's so tight it doesn't release at all. And that's probably, out of the three, that's likely the worst kind of scenario. It really just depends what's right for you, though. If you have a segment, for example, that's a part of your body that's not moving, and I press on it and I know it can move, but it's very difficult and it's just not releasing, and I can feel that your body's gripping, then even doing the adjustment and not releasing is going to send that stimulus into your body, where eventually I know that it's going to move. At some point, your body is going to adapt, it's going to change its behavior, and it's going to move one day. The other thing is that some people, if they've reached a certain age or a certain amount of degeneration, maybe it will never move. It may have fused already. It may be so degenerated. If you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, probably you'll be at that age. If you're younger, I doubt it, but still possibly. You know, it's just about finding what's normal and what's best and what's possible for you as an individual. So the short answer, is it better if you hear a cracking noise? No. The long answer, 50% longer, is it better? Yes. Or the long answer, I guess, is just everything I just told you. And that's it. Hope you found that interesting. Bye.